Many guitar players have been caught out in various situations where they're trying to recreate certain tones and they just don't have the pickups that they need available to them. Now this could be due to a variety of factors. You may only own guitars with humbuckers or with single coils, or perhaps you're a gigging musician and you've only taken your Strat to a show, but you find out that there's 3 songs in the set that you really need a Les Paul sound for. What do you do? So the obvious is carrying extra guitars. Now, depending on a variety of factors, sometimes that's not possible or practical. So what can you do? The guys at Keyztone have come up with 2 really cool products, which we're going to check on in this video. These pedals are called the Rekoil. So both the pedals I'm holding are technically the same thing, but they do the opposite thing to one another. So the White Rekoil I'm holding converts the sound of a humbucker into a single coil, and the Black Rekoil does the opposite. So this converts a single coil to a humbucker tone. Now this is incredibly useful if you're gigging with one guitar, or you just need multiple pickup sounds or options without needing to carry extra gear. So as well as being incredibly simple to set up and a very, very useful tool to have on your pedal board, the guys at Keyztone also decided to make these a little bit friendlier on the environment as well. So the cases for these are 3D printed with natural materials as well as the knobs. And also the electronic components have been optimized so they're not overusing any power they don't need to use. All the components that go into these are also sourced as locally to the area of France where they're built as possible, and they're even shipped out in reduced packaging to reduce the overall impact of the production of these things. So that also keeps the cost down, so you guys get these pedals for a great price, but also they're a little bit friendlier on the environment. So if we take a closer look at both of these pedals, we'll see they're very, very simple. Each pedal only has 1 knob, which is a gain knob. And again, to cut down on any extra materials, the instructions are also printed on the rear of the pedals. So there's nothing extra here that doesn't need to be there. These are very simple. The 3D printed plastic cases are pretty robust. I think they could take a bit of punishment at a gig. And obviously these things are pretty small. The knob is also 3D printed, as I mentioned. The only thing we have here on each pedal is a gain control. That can be used for level matching against your existing sound, or also boosting slightly. So if you're using the single coil guitar plugged into this one, which converts it to a humbucker sound, you may want to push that gain control a bit to get a bit of extra grit from your simulated humbucker sound. But if you're using the one that converts your humbucker sound into a single coil sound, you might want to roll that gain back a little bit to take some of the volume out to maybe give you a bit of a cleaner tone. So you can use that as a cut or boost, or you can just gain match it with your existing volume. Pedals are incredibly lightweight. Each one weighs just 90 grams, so they're not really going to add much weight to your pedal board setup. So if you're already running quite a big board, you only have to find a small space for this and you're not really going to feel the impact of the weight of this thing. It's just going to be a really functional tool for you to add in. Now with these, it's recommended you always put this first in your chain. So these like to see your guitar signal. So try to avoid putting any buffers or anything in between this and the guitar. Try and get this as close to the front or preferably at the front of your signal chain. That way, this will see the pure signal from the guitar pickups and convert it before it goes into the rest of your signal chain. These also do work best when you don't alter the volume control on the guitar or use a treble bleed circuit. Now it is possible and you can get some good results with this, but for the best results, you should leave the guitar volume set to 10. Spec-wise, there's not really a lot to talk about with these things other than that. Obviously, like I said, this one is going to give you a twangy vintage single coil sound, and this one is going to give you a big fat vintage humbucker sound, and we can push that into some slightly more modern tones if we need to. So really, we just need to plug these things in and hear how they sound. But before we do that, just want to let you guys know Keyztone are sponsoring this video. So I'm being paid for this video and they have provided me with these pedals for the purpose of making this video. But all the thoughts and opinions you're going to hear in this video are my own. So I'm going to plug these things in now and we're going to hear how they sound. So gear-wise, I'm going to be starting off with my early 80s Tokai Strat. This is loaded with a set of Righteous sound pickups. These are very typically vintage sounding single coils. They're wound to be like a 60s set. I'm going to be using some humbuckers later on as well. This is plugged into the Blackstar St. James 6L6, which is running via the 2-note Torpedo Captor X. You're also going to be hearing some drive in this video as well. That's going to be coming from the Wampler Bell. So I'm starting out with the Black Rekoil. This is the one that takes the guitar from a single coil. So I've got my single coils here, and it's going to convert that into the sound of a humbucker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play clean, then I'll play with some drive, I'm going to turn this thing on and off so you can hear the difference. Now you'll see I've got the gain set pretty low. So at this point, I've sort of gain matched it. So when I turn it on, we don't get too much of a volume shift there. Obviously, as I crank that, I'm adding a little bit more push and a little bit more saturation to it. And it's going to hit the front of the amp harder. So as I engage the humbucker mode, we'll actually hear a little bit of clipping from the amp as well. So now we're going to hear the same thing with some drive. So I've engaged the one per bell and I'm going to play in those 3 pickup positions once more and turn the recoil on and off. So as I mentioned, I kept the gain quite low there to level match it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play with the bridge pickup selected and the drive on. I'm going to have the recoil switched on and I'm just going to increase that gain control from all the way down to all the way up so you can hear the range of gain. So that entire range of gain you saw there just came from the gain knob on the recoil. Now we're going to do an A-B test. I'm going to play something in all 3 positions on this guitar with the recoil engaged. And I'm also going to use my Stanford Guitars Crossroad Marquee in all 3 humbucker positions. And we're going to A-B the 2 together. So now I've switched around the recoils. I'm now using the White Rekoil, which is humbuckers into single coil. And the guitar I'm using is my Stanford Guitars Crossroad Marquee. This is obviously a Les Paul style guitar with two very, very classic, typical PAF sounding pickups. Obviously it's three-way switch, bridge, middle, and neck. Exactly the same as we did with the Strat setup. So I'm going to start by playing clean, moving between the three pickup positions and turning the recoil on and off. Now, the first thing you'll notice here, they've actually got the gain pretty much maxed on this one. Because we're going from humbucker to single coil, we're actually removing some content from the signal rather than adding. So when we go from single to humbucker, we're making it fatter. When we go the other way, we're actually taking away. So I find for my setup, having this set very high works best to level match, and then we can attenuate the signal if that single coil tone is too hot. With the humbucker one, it works better in reverse where you can boost the signal. So I'm going to start off by playing clean. I'm going to strum some stuff and turn that on and off and move through the pickup positions. Now the same thing with the Wampler bell on for some drive. Now I mentioned that the gain control on this recoil actually does the opposite, so this actually takes away the level. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to engage the recoil. So now my humbucker guitar is in single coil mode, and I'm going to reduce that gain control to attenuate things. I'm going to do this on the bridge pickup with a bit of drive. And then finally, to round up, we're going to A-B this guitar with the recoil switched on to put this into single coil mode against my real single coil guitar in the same three pickup positions. So there you go, that is the Rekoil from Keyztone. Two really, really useful, really small pedals that can make a big difference to your tone. Now for me personally, I'm going to be loading up these on my pedal board because I often gig with a Strat, and sometimes I do find I need a humbucker sound for 1 or 2 songs. So this Black Rekoil will definitely be finding a home on my pedal board. It's great to have that feature available because you can just kick a button and get some single coil tones or some humbucker tones depending on which way you're working, even if it's just for a few songs. So let me know what you guys think of how these things sound. I think they do a great job of emulating the pickups that they're supposed to emulate. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. They may not sound identical when isolated, but in a mix, that's where these things are really going to come to life, especially if you're playing live or recording music. You're really going to be able to get that single coil or humbucker vibe in the bigger audio mix. So even if you don't like the sound of them 100% isolated, they will definitely sit well with other instruments. And that's where I think these things are really going to shine. I like them. I think they sound fantastic. And most importantly, they feel good. There's a good feel to them when you're playing with the humbucker one switched on. So the black one, for instance, it makes my Strat feel a little bit more kind of tight and responsive like a humbucker guitar would. And then when I play with the white one on, it does make my Les Paul style guitars feel that little bit slinkier. I get a bit more of the twang out and it kind of inspires me to play a bit more Stratty. To my ears, I guess it kind of pushes it a little bit more to the telly territory, but it's the same single coil kind of ballpark. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I like those tones. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. There are some links down below in the description where you can check out Keyztone and learn more about these pedals as well. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. While you're down there letting me know what you think, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks for watching.